In my previous life, I fell into the water and was saved by Lin, so I married him out of gratitude. On our wedding night, he was urgently called back to the military. He left me to take care of his 3 children from his ex-wife and his paralyzed mother-in-law. I worked in the mines to support the 3 children's education and devoted myself to serving his paralyzed mother until her passing. But after his mother was buried, these 3 stepchildren refused to acknowledge me as their stepmother and even tried to kick me out. I was already exhausted and sick, and I cried, calling them ungrateful wolves. Lin returned at this moment, bringing his beaming ex-wife with him. Chang Kai-sin, all these years, you've been eating our food and living in our house. You should be grateful that my sons haven't asked you for money. We never even registered our marriage. How dare you have the nerve to stick around? It was only then that I realized Lin and his ex-wife had faked their divorce all those years ago, and they had been happily enjoying their life together in the military all this time. Overwhelmed with rage, I coughed up blood, fell from the bed, and lost consciousness. They took the opportunity to drag me out of the village and left me to be mauled to death by wild dogs. Opening my eyes again, I found myself back on the day I fell into the water. In this life, I will save myself. At 1001 hash. Someone's fallen into the water. Quick, save them. I choked on a mouthful of water, certain that I had been reborn. While the sound of a splash echoed in my ears, I saw Lin, in his military uniform, swimming towards me. I was as if I had seen a ghost, desperately dog-paddling in the opposite direction. You're swimming the wrong way, miss. Turn around quickly. The villagers gathered on the shore thought I was swimming in the wrong direction and shouted anxiously. They didn't know I was doing it on purpose. Lin couldn't see clearly through the splashing water and thought I was struggling. Chang Kai-sin, stop moving around. I'm here to save you. I had a bad feeling because in my previous life, Lin hadn't spoken at this moment. He had been reborn. Sure enough, Lin's surprised voice came through. You actually know how to swim. In my previous life, I drowned and was saved by him. He always thought I was a landlubber. Now, the sound of splashing water was getting closer and closer. He was about to catch up with me. In my panic, I decided to take a gamble and plunged underwater, swimming in a direction where Lin couldn't see me. Seeing me suddenly sink beneath the water, Lin anxiously dove in after me and grabbed hold of my calf. I felt as if a venomous snake had coiled around me, my chest so suffocated it was about to burst. Was he trying to drown me? I panicked and thrashed wildly. And suddenly my legs were freed. I quickly surfaced, gasping for air as I swam toward the shore. A sharp-eyed villager spotted me. She swam up on her own. Lin had just surfaced to catch his breath when he heard the sound and immediately looked over. I was shivering from the cold. And when I turned around to see Lin reaching the shore, I glared at him with hatred. A complex look flashed in Lin's eyes as he climbed ashore. Chang Kai-sin, I didn't expect you to be such a good swimmer, he said and was about to pull me. I was so scared that my scalp tingled. I grabbed a passing woman and shouted at him, "Don't touch me." Lin felt somewhat awkward. With so many people gathering around now, he had no choice but to withdraw his hand. I stood up trembling. And Lin came over to try to pull me again. "Sir, I don't know you. Please show some self-respect." Lin was repeatedly rejected, and his expression turned ugly. "Sorry, I'm a soldier and was anxious to save a life. Just now, seeing you drowning, I offended you underwater and frightened you. How could such words not be misunderstood?" Sure enough, some men started whistling. This is a hero saving a beauty. The only way to repay the kindness is to offer myself in return. I never expected Lin to pull this trick on me. How despicable. "Sir, you can't just say things like that. The water was murky just now. Are you sure it was me you touched?" At that moment, a villager noticed the injury on Lin's hand. "Miss, he risked his life to save you, and you even scratched his hands. If it weren't for him, you would have drowned long ago." I remember when Lin grabbed my calf, I did kick him a few times. Who said I was drowning? Besides, there are so many rocks at the bottom of the water, so it's possible he got his hands scratched by them. Moreover, I surfaced and reached the shore before he did. I saved myself. How could it be him who saved me? Lin seemed a bit embarrassed. "Chang Kai-sin, we're from the same village. My name is Lin. I was just worried you might catch a cold and wanted to see you home." Lin was clearly trying to delay me on purpose. There must be something fishy going on. I was afraid he might try to force a hug. and if someone from the village saw, it would be hard to explain. I turned and ran. Julin wanted to chase after her, but the aunt grabbed him and started asking all sorts of questions. "Oh my. Young man, are you in the military? Are you married yet?" Seeing that Julin hadn't followed, I anxiously ran all the way to the village entrance, and sure enough, I saw Suyi receiving a document bag from the postman. I widened my eyes and shouted, "Suyi, how dare you claim my college admission letter?" At 1001 hash, in my previous life, I nearly drowned, and Julin saved me, in front of everyone. He carried me ashore with one arm around my chest. The news quickly spread throughout the village. And everyone had something to say whenever they saw me. "Chang Kaisin, you should repay the life-saving favor by marrying me." My mother couldn't withstand the pressure and agreed to the matchmaker Julin found to propose marriage. Julin quickly arranged a banquet, but that very night he was urgently recalled to the military. I stayed behind to take care of his 3 sons from his previous marriage, as well as his mother who had been paralyzed for many years. Everything happened so fast at that time, I didn't even think about my college admission letter. To keep food on the table for the family, I went up the mountain to carry ore. Once, the mine collapsed, and though I survived, one of my legs was crushed. The mine paid for the medical expenses. But with 3 sons to send to school, I barely took time to recover before buying broad beans in town, grinding them late at night to make jelly, and selling it door to door in the village during the day. Everyone in the village said I was a good wife. A bowl of cold jelly for 50 cents. It actually helped me scrape together the tuition fees for my 3 children. Once when I passed by Su Yi's house, her friend called out Chang Kaisin, and I thought she was calling me, A bowl of cold jelly, please. I was shabbily dressed and limping, watching the city girls my age who were dressed so elegantly, and I fumbled nervously while serving the cold jelly. Su Yi sat in the courtyard watching me, also dressed elegantly and looking radiant with a healthy glow. After the children went to college, my mother-in-law, who had been bedridden for most of her life, finally passed away. I wore mourning clothes, bought her a coffin, and arranged the funeral on a rainy day. I followed the funeral procession up the mountain to bury her, kowtowing and weeping until I fainted. I have a deadly disease, tuberculosis. Who would have thought that after the funeral, all 3 children were in a hurry to go back to school and even got angry with me. "You lung disease ghost, just die sooner. You're not our mother anyway, why should we treat you?" I almost couldn't catch my breath and burst into loud sobs. "I've raised 3 ungrateful wretches. I worked like a beast of burden carrying or just to earn your tuition money, and ended up with a broken leg. I woke up early and worked late selling cold noodles to put you through college, and it made me sick from exhaustion. Now that all 3 of you have bright futures ahead, you won't even acknowledge me as your mother. How heartless." My 3 children flushed with shame, and just as we were at a standoff, Julin suddenly pushed the door open and entered with Suyi. "Chang Kaisin. How dare you claim to be the mother of my 3 sons? Their mother is my wife. You and I never even registered our marriage. What kind of mother are you supposed to be?" My lips trembled as I stared at Julin, then looked at Suyi in shock. "What do you mean we never got a marriage certificate, and Suyi is your wife?" Suyi had an elegant demeanor, wearing the trendiest red pointed-toe high heels, with lipstick on and her hair neatly styled, and I, lying in bed with sunken eyes from long illness, gaunt and sallow, looking like a wreck. It suddenly dawned on me that they had a fake divorce. No wonder all these years when I wrote letters to Julin, he kept making excuses about being busy with military missions and said we'd register our marriage when he had time to return. Furious and agitated, I coughed violently as if trying to cough up my lungs. My throat itched, and I spat out blood and fell off the bed. They took the opportunity to lift me onto a cart, dragged me out of the village overnight, and dumped me in the graveyard. I was awakened by the pain of 6 wild dogs gnawing at my hands and feet, and my throat was bitten open with a large hole. In my last glimpse, my mother, with her white hair, came crying to find me, picked up stones to drive away the wild dogs, but couldn't stop the blood flowing from my throat. I lay in my mother's arms, blinked, and breathed my last, at 1001 hash. Suyi trembled all over from my shout, staring at me in shock. "Chang Kaisin, what are you doing here?" Taking advantage of Suyi's stays, I rushed over and snatched the document folder from her hand. With her hands now empty, Suyi looked over unwillingly. "This is mine, give it back to me." I let out a cold laugh. What do you mean yours, Suyi? Are you sure? Suyi suddenly realized, and the postman was looking at her in surprise. I just wanted to help you keep it for now. I heard you fell into the water, so you probably didn't have time to come. I realized something was wrong. Suyi, the lake is quite far from here. How did you know I fell into the water? Suyi stammered, trying to come up with an excuse, but couldn't find the words. I stared at the postman who was watching the scene unfold. Brother, how could you just hand my university admission letter to someone else? The postman's face changed. She stopped me and said it was hers. So I gave it to her. I was running so fast that I was barely holding back the urge to vomit. If not, I'll open it right now and see if this admission letter has my name, Chang Kaisin, or Su Yis. If it's my name, I'm going to sue you for giving my university admission letter to someone else without my permission. The postman realized I wasn't easy to fool. Suyi turned pale, suddenly snatched the document from my hand, and ran off. Chang Kaisin, this is my university admission letter. If anyone's going to open it, it should be me. I was shocked and rushed to grab her. Suyi, don't you dare tear it. I grabbed Suyi's long braid. She wasn't strong enough to fight me off and frantically yelled for the postman to help. While the postman hesitated, a furious shout came from the distance. Chang Kaisin, let go of Suyi. Julin caught up, furious, and threw me into the roadside paddy ditch. Suyi was quite startled and quickly whispered, "What's going on? Why is she here?" Julin's face was grim. I didn't expect her to know how to swim. I got up from the paddy ditch, holding the document bag, wiped the blood from my forehead, and cursed inwardly. Julin is a real piece of work. I quickly opened the document in front of them, and the admission letter neatly displayed my name. My eyes reddened. In my past life, Suyi had truly stolen my life. Suyi, you stole my college admission letter, and when I caught you, you tried to tear it up. If you can't steal my future, you'll just destroy it. Suyi, supported by Julin, was trembling as she looked at me. Chang Kaisin, I really thought this was my university admission letter. I wasn't trying to tear it, I just opened it too hastily. Since it's yours, I was just keeping it safe for you temporarily. It's not like I wasn't going to return it. I let out a cold laugh. Suyi, we don't even know each other. What gives you the right to hold on to my things for me? I stared fearlessly at Julin's gaze that seemed like he wanted to devour me. And you, how is it such a coincidence that you were right there when I fell into the water? We don't know each other, yet you were willing to risk your life to save me on such a cold day. Julin pursed his lips tightly, his eyes wandering. I just happened to be passing by and heard someone fall into the water, so I jumped in. I'm a soldier. Saving people is what I should do. The mail carrier got on his bicycle to leave. I quickly grabbed his bicycle with sharp eyes. You are not allowed to leave. Suyi falsely claimed my university admission letter. You must testify for me, or I will sue you for giving my admission letter to someone else. Seeing this, Julin walked over and gave the postman a meaningful look. Chang Kaisin, let go of his bicycle. He still has more letters to deliver. Suyi stepped in and directly grabbed my hand to pull me away. I was alone, feeling both angry and anxious, suddenly overwhelmed by despair. You little brats, how dare you bully my Jiaoxin? Tears streamed down my face as my mom arrived, at 1001 hash, seeing me crying in distress and with blood still on my forehead. My mother instantly flew into a rage and rushed over, slapping Suyi across the face. My mother works in the fields planting rice, so you can imagine the strength in her hands. You bitch, how dare you bully my Jiaoxin? Suyi released her grip, causing the woman she had been hitting to spin halfway around like a top. Julin quickly caught her in his arms. Suyi's face swelled up in an instant. Julin was furious. You old shrew, how dare you hit someone? Don't you know that's illegal? My mother's aggressive stance didn't waver at all. The matchmaker she brought, seeing the situation turning sour, quickly stepped in to mediate. Oh my, isn't this Julin? Why are you and your ex-wife having a conflict with Chang Kaisin? It must all be a misunderstanding. Suyi covered her face and lowered her head. As soon as I heard it, it was a misunderstanding. Truly ridiculous. Mom, Chang Kaisin deceived the postman to fraudulently claim my university admission letter. Julin came specifically to help her. I stared at Julin again. You say hitting someone is illegal, but you just pushed me and made me break my forehead. That means you knowingly broke the law. Julin was so angry that the veins on his forehead were throbbing. The matchmaker was stunned. Julin, It was you who asked me to arrange a match for you. Now that you've hit Chong Kai-sin, it's going to be hard to become in-laws. More likely, you'll become enemies. My mother, still furious, shielded me and pointed at Julin while scolding him. So you're Julin. On one hand, you're asking a matchmaker to arrange a marriage with our Kai-sin, and on the other, you're helping your ex-wife steal our Kai-sin's admission letter. You're already divorced, yet you're still paving the way for your ex-wife. How dare you gang up to bully our Kai-sin? I'll fight you to the death. I remembered that when I fell into the water, it was clearly because someone kicked me down. Mom, I'm going to college. Even if I were to marry, it would have to wait until after I finish university, let alone the fact that Julin is already divorced. Besides, Julin and Suyi never got divorced. Julin's face changed drastically, and he quickly denied it. Chang Kai-sin, you fell into the water today, and I kindly saved you. As soon as you got ashore, you ran off. I chased after you, and you were hitting Suyi. You claim she stole your college admission letter. That's a vicious slander. I am a soldier. And if you accuse me of faking a divorce, you'd better think about the consequences. I stared coldly at Julin. Whether you two are really divorced or not, you know the truth in your hearts. You say you saved me, but the whole village saw that I saved myself. It had nothing to do with you. Yet you keep trying to hug and hold me again and again. If you think I'm falsely accusing you of not being divorced, then let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to check. Do you and Suyi dare? Julin and Suyi were visibly flustered, their faces filled with guilt. My mother also caught on. You, Julin, aren't even divorced yet. You're trying to ruin my daughter Kai-sin's reputation so the matchmaker can smoothly arrange a marriage. You're trying to trick Kai-sin into working like a slave for your 3 sons and taking care of your paralyzed mother. And you, that wretched Suyi, trying to steal my daughter's future to go to college. How vicious-hearted you are. At that moment, some villagers arrived, accompanied by officers from the local police station. I was overjoyed. Mom, let's call the police and sue Julin for fraudulent marriage. Julin grew anxious, then suddenly laughed. Just in time, my childhood friend is at the police station, at 1001 hash. Suyi was initially frightened but quickly regained her confidence. I was so happy at that time. I really thought it was my college admission letter, so I asked the postman to give it to me. After saying this, she looked at the mail carrier with a pitiful expression. Little brother, you agree, right? The postman scratched his head in confusion. No, that's not right. At the time, you said you had been admitted to university. I asked if you were Chang Kai-sin, and you nodded. I'm sure I remember correctly. The matchmaker listened for a while and finally caught on. Julin, if you're really not divorced, you can't harm Chang Kai-sin, and you'll ruin my reputation as a matchmaker too. The matchmaker, afraid of Julin, didn't dare say more and could only look at Suyi. How could you falsely claim someone else's admission letter? If this spreads in the village, your mother will be shamed and criticized. But before the matchmaker could finish speaking, let's see who dares to point fingers at me. Suyi's mother rushed over, followed menacingly by her 2 brothers carrying shoulder poles. Suyi immediately burst into tears and loudly complained, Mom, Chang Kai-sin's mother hit me. Upon hearing this, Aunt Su rushed toward my mother in a fury. You wretched woman, how dare you hit my daughter? My husband is still around, and I'll fight you to the death. My mother spat at her while rubbing her hands together. I'm not as thin-skinned as my daughter Kai-sin. You old hag, you're clearly no good. I was just about to settle scores with you, and here you come crawling over first. I watched as Suyi's 2 younger brothers grabbed carrying poles and rushed over, ready to help beat my mother. Recalling my past life, I settled old and new grudges together. I took off my shoe and threw it at the faces of Suyi's 2 younger brothers, instantly causing their noses to bleed. Suyi screamed and tried to scratch my face, but I was prepared and slapped her across the face. Suyi was stunned by the blow. Ah, how dare you and your mother hit my face? I'll scratch your face to pieces. The scene quickly descended into chaos, and Julin hurriedly stepped in to stop his 2 brothers-in-law. At that moment, a villager's loud shout was heard. Stop fighting, everyone. The police are here. A young man in uniform walked over and pulled Suyi's hand away from my hair. Julin didn't recognize this police officer and assumed he was new. Comrade, you're from the local police station, right? I know your captain. Nangongyang glanced at everyone present. I am the chief of the police station in the neighboring district. My name is Nangongyang. I was passing by after work when I heard someone had fallen into the water, and I came over to see you fighting. Just now, I heard someone wanted to call the police. Who was it? I glanced at Julin. I want to report a crime. I'm accusing Suyi of stealing my university admission letter. And someone intentionally kicked me into the water, trying to harm me. Officer, the area where I fell into the water is under your jurisdiction. Julin was visibly panicked. Chang Kai-sin, stop talking nonsense. You lost your footing and fell into the water because there were too many people on the shore. I went to save you out of kindness, and now you're suspecting that I staged this whole thing and pushed you in myself. I was well prepared. I never said it was you. Someone kicked me hard at that time, and I must have bruises. I can go to the hospital to get the injuries examined. Also, someone must have seen who did it. Now, Suyi's family started to panic as well. Suyi's two younger brothers, with their noses still bleeding, had been surrounding my mother and me with carrying poles. If the police hadn't arrived, I would have been worried about being outnumbered and at a disadvantage. My mother stood with her hands on her hips, continuing to yell at Suyi's mother. You're Suyi's mother, thinking you can hit people just because you have two sons. Let's see who dares lay a finger on me today, when I was carrying a shoulder pole and hoe. You two little brats were still tadpoles looking for your mom to be reborn. Suyi's two younger brothers, around 12 or 13 years old, blushed instantly and didn't dare say a word after holding it in for a long time. Su's mother wouldn't stand for it. Seeing Suyi's swollen face and her two sons' bloody noses, she started shouting back at my mom. You widow who brought death upon your husband, even your own daughter was groped all over by a man after falling into the water. I think it's you who can't stay in this village any longer. I was startled. Auntie Sue's arrival had been suspicious from the start, and how did she find out in such a short time? How did you know I was groped all over by a man? Auntie Sue turned to look at me, drenched from head to toe, then glanced at Julin, who was equally soaked, and suddenly smiled. My son ran home and told me that no man in the village will ever want you from now on. I ignored her. Officer, I am willing to take legal responsibility for what I said. I demand that a case be filed for investigation. Nangong Yang looked at me seriously. Since you've reported this to the police, all of you will come with me to the police station. Suyi's face changed dramatically. I want to call the police too. Chang Kai-sin and his mother injured my brother and me. Julin quickly spoke up in their defense. Comrade, I'm from the military and I know a bit about your procedures. My ex-wife and the others want to report this. And we need to do it at the police station in our own district. The villagers immediately erupted in an uproar. Julin just said he knows the captain of our local police station. If we go there, won't he just give them 2 cartons of cigarettes and a bottle of liquor, and they'll take their side? Isn't this clearly bullying us? I was well aware of the seriousness of the situation. If the local police were called in, things would get complicated. I immediately said to Nangong Yang, I called the police first. Even if they want to report it, you should handle my case first now. Nangong Yang was accompanied by 2 colleagues and immediately tried to take Yizi's family away. Suyi grabbed Julin's arm pleadingly, refusing to leave. Hurry up and think of something. Julin also knew that if it wasn't at the local police station, he couldn't protect Suyi at all, and some matters might even implicate him. Chang Kai-sin, I don't know why you're targeting Suyi. And why you insisted on filing a report at the neighboring police station. You don't want to marry me. And I never said I must marry you either. Also, you injured Suyi and her brother. If the police station really files a case, you'll also be held criminally responsible. I've been bullied since I was young, and I have a strong temperament. I can't stand being threatened. Julin, you've reminded me. I'm also going to sue you. You pushed me and caused me to injure my forehead. You won't get away with it either. Julin's temples were throbbing with anger. He clenched his fists and didn't say another word. Nangong Yang looked at Julin. Since the person who called the police has spoken, comrade, let's go together. At 1001 hash, upon arriving at the police station, Nangong Yang came in person and said that Suyi's family intended to sue my mother and me for physically assaulting them and causing injuries, accusing us of intentional harm. This situation is generally classified as a mutual fight. Julin injured you, Suyi stole your university admission letter, and the postman has confirmed it, because you insisted on filing a case. They are willing to reconcile and offer compensation. I thought I was in for a tough battle, but I didn't expect them to back down so quickly. Chief, do you know how they plan to compensate? Julin came in at this moment. He had applied for a face-to-face meeting. Chang Kai-sin. I'll give you 250 as compensation. I let out a cold, mocking laugh. Julin, who are you cursing at? After saying that, I stood up and left. Julin became anxious. 300, that's all I have. Thinking back to how their family treated me in my past life, this isn't about the money. I kept walking without stopping. 600. This is all the money I have. I stopped in my tracks. This was a huge sacrifice. It seems he really wants to reconcile. Julin. Is this 600 yuan compensation for you injuring me, or for Suyi stealing my admission notice? Julin turned around and glared at me. Chang Kai-sin, don't be ungrateful. 600 is no small amount. Think about how much my monthly salary is. And how much your family's annual income is. I glared back at him. Julin, if you want me to forgive Suyi, she needs to come and tell me herself. Julin went out dejectedly, and soon, Suyi and her mother came over reluctantly. In contrast to their being caught off guard and looking uneasy, I was well prepared. I looked at Suyi and got straight to the point. Julin has already paid 600 in compensation to settle this. You stole my admission letter. How do you plan to compensate and resolve this? Suyi and her mother were instantly outraged upon hearing this. 600, Julin. Where did you get so much money? Julin quickly went over to calm them down. I immediately gave this family a thoughtful reminder. Suyi, if you want me to forgive you, it's not impossible. Compensation plus an apology. Suyi and her mother looked miserable. We don't have any money left. If you want money, we don't have it. If you want a life, we only have one. At most, we can give you another 100. I wasn't angry either, and I looked at Nan Gongyang. Director, I've changed my mind. I request to file the case. Julin panicked. He was about to return to the military for a promotion. 1,000. Suyi and I will compensate you together. My mom was drinking water, her eyes lighting up. 1,000 was a huge sum of money. Suyi immediately went crazy. Julin, your monthly salary is only a few dozen yuan. And our annual income isn't much either. How can we give them so much money? I calmly added, and Suyi has to walk through the village with a loudspeaker to apologize for stealing my admission letter. This time, Aunt Sue was completely outraged. Always happy. Impossible. You can have my daughter apologize to you. But a public apology through the village is out of the question. How could she and our family ever hold our heads up again after that? Julin held the sobbing Suyi in his arms and whispered something in her ear. I probably knew what they were saying. If I refused to settle, the police station would detain her for at least 15 days, and her reputation would be ruined anyway. After all, she and Julin are not divorced. If I don't forgive him, he will still be detained. If that happens, he won't be able to return to the military, and if the military finds out, he'll be in even bigger trouble. Suyi looked up at me, said a few words to her mother, and reluctantly agreed in humiliation. Seeing that we had reached an agreement, Nan Gongyang had someone bring a pen. Since you've reached a settlement, sign the papers to close the case. I picked up the pen, hesitated for a moment, and immediately voiced my concerns. Julin and Suyi promised compensation and an apology. But neither has been delivered. I don't dare to sign this document right now. Julin is about to return to the army, and Suyi has 2 brothers in her family. There's no guarantee they won't change their minds and cause trouble for my family. I'll sign only after they fulfill their promise. Julin had no choice but to take Suyi and her mother outside. He only returned after persuading them. We're going to the credit union to withdraw money now, and we'll give it to you right away. My mother and I sat in the police station, waiting patiently. Soon, Julin and Suyi came back. My mom, her hands trembling, took the 1,000 yuan. Excitedly, she licked her fingers with saliva and began counting the money 1 bill at a time. Kaishin, Mom has counted it. This one, 000 yuan, is not a single cent short. Suyi and her mother stared longingly at the 1,000 yuan in my mother's hand, hugging each other and crying in anguish. Julin stared at me with a grim expression. Chang Kai-sin, the apology to Suyi will be delivered tomorrow. If you're worried, you can go and follow along yourself. I wasn't worried about Suyi going back on her word, so I picked up the pen and signed without hesitation, officially closing the case. My mom and I left first, ready to go home and get a good night's sleep. My mom was in a good mood and made me a bowl of poached eggs. As I ate, tears fell. Living a second life. Looking at everything familiar at home felt like being trapped in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The fortunate thing is, when I woke up, I was still alive. Early the next morning, my mom woke me up in a hurry. "Kaisin, wake up quickly. I just went to Suyi's house, and her mom said she wasn't home." I even looked around her place. "She's long gone. That wretched woman has gone back on her word." At 1001 hash, I comforted my mom, telling her to stay calm. I had already guessed that Suyi agreed so quickly because Julin must have given her the idea. Sure enough, after my mom and I finished breakfast, we hurried to Julin's house and found that he was gone too. I have already written the report letter. The content revealed that Julin, as a soldier, conspired with Suyi to fake a divorce and set me up by pushing me into the water, then staged a rescue to save me, all with the intention of marrying me through deception. Additionally, Suyi fraudulently claimed my university admission letter, and the police station has already filed a case. A week after sending the letter, I helped my mother feed the chickens and transplant rice seedlings in the fields every day, happily waiting for the start of the school term. Soon, someone from the military came to investigate. Nan Gongyang, along with the leader from Julin's military unit, came to visit me. My mother was startled at the time and rushed to find me in a hurry. "Kaisin, stop transplanting the rice seedlings. That director from last time, along with the leader from Julin's unit, is here to see you." I quickly got out of the paddy field and hurried home with my mother. As soon as I entered the courtyard, I saw Nan Gongyang in casual clothes, accompanied by two men who had a military demeanor, also dressed in casual attire. Nan Gongyang smiled immediately upon seeing me. "Chang Kaisin, you mentioned last time that someone intentionally kicked you into the water. After our investigation, both of the Suyi brothers confessed. It was Julin and his wife Suyi who came up with the plan. They first spread false news of their divorce, had Suyi's younger brother kick you into the water, and then Julin pretended to coincidentally pass by and jump in to rescue you. His purpose in doing all this was to let the villagers see that rescuing you with such intimate contact would spread rumors, ensuring that the matchmaker he hired could persuade your mother to agree. This way, Suyi could take your college admission letter and go to university." Upon hearing this, my mother was so angry that she threw down the broom. "That pair of blood-sucking scoundrels, I really didn't curse them enough last time." One of the two soldiers standing beside Nan Gongyang spoke up. "Comrade Chang Kaisin, I am Julin's company commander. After receiving your report letter, I immediately decided to come in person. Julin was originally going to be promoted to squad leader this time. If he truly did something like this, it absolutely cannot be allowed. The soldiers under my command are absolutely not permitted to have such terrible character and conduct issues. I came here specifically to investigate the entire situation thoroughly. Once verified, it will be dealt with seriously." I felt a deep sense of respect. Truly, he is a soldier who defends the nation. As fellow soldiers, Julin is nothing but a rotten apple. Captain Nan Gongyang and Julin had a few more words with their company commander before leaving. Nan Gongyang looked at me with a half-smile. "Chang Kaisin, did you anticipate that Suyi wouldn't apologize? And were you even more certain that Julin would take Suyi away with him?" I looked completely innocent. "Chief, I was forced into this by them. Since Julin dared to fake a divorce and even schemed to make me fall into the water in an attempt to trick me into marriage, reporting him is exactly what he deserves." Nan Gongyang laughed out loud. "Chang Kaisin, I heard you were admitted to the Provincial Police Academy. What a coincidence. I graduated from there too. No wonder I found Nan Gongyang so likable. Not only is he upright and honest, but he's also handsome, and we went to the same university." It's no surprise I felt an instant connection with him. My mom, who was feeding the chickens, burst into laughter when she heard this. "Director, how old are you? Are you married?" I was extremely embarrassed. "Mom, why are you asking these things?" Nan Gongyang, however, didn't mind. "Auntie, I'm 28 this year. I had a girlfriend from the city during college, but we broke up. My mom is now busy setting me up on blind dates everywhere. I'm always happy, and I can be considered your senior brother. If you ever need any help in the future, feel free to come to me." Junior sister. My mom was overjoyed. Her father died of tuberculosis when Kaisin was 8 years old. As a rural woman, it hasn't been easy for me, so she started school late. She's 20 this year, so when you think about it, there isn't much of an age difference between you two. The more I listened, the more I felt something was wrong, so I quickly ran into the house. A few days later, Su-yi returned to the village and, carrying a loudspeaker, apologized all the way from her house to mine. With the whole village coming out to watch the commotion, Su-yi told me that not only was Ju-lin not promoted to squad leader, but he was also discharged from the military early. Ju-lin was too ashamed to return to the village and went to the city to find work. Su-yi stayed behind to take care of the 3 sons and serve her paralyzed mother-in-law. In September, carrying big and small bags, my mom happily sent me off to the provincial university, but Ju-lin, for some unknown reason, suddenly came to my school to find me. At 1001 hash, after not seeing him for a few months, Ju-lin had lost his former high spirits, with a stubbly beard, dark circles under his eyes, and wearing old, patched clothes instead of his military uniform. He looked like a stray dog. Chang Kai-sin, I'm driving a truck for someone now and happened to pass by your school. So I thought I'd come see you. I bought you some snacks. As he spoke, he opened the plastic bag. Want rice crackers, want milk, White Rabbit creamy candies, Alpenliebe lollipops, spicy strips, bananas, and apples. I didn't answer, watching Ju-lin warily. Sorry, but we're not that close, are we? And these things you bought must have cost quite a bit. Send them back for Su-yi and your child to enjoy. Seeing that I was about to leave, Ju-lin quickly stopped me. Noticing that I was startled, he hurriedly shoved the item into my hands. Ju-lin, what are you doing? If you keep this up, I'll call the police. Ju-lin's eyes were completely bloodshot with exhaustion. Chang Kai-sin, the day you fell into the water, I knew you also remembered the previous life. I couldn't come to see you empty-handed. Buying these things doesn't mean anything else. Just think of it as my guilty conscience wanting to make it up to you. These are all things girls like to eat. They don't cost much, so just take them. I laughed in exasperation. Ju-lin, in the previous life you ruined me, and in this life you failed to harm me. Aren't you afraid Su-yi will find out and divorce you? Ju-lin lowered his head. Su-yi couldn't bear the hardships in the village and ran away long ago. My mother also passed away from anger. I just returned from handling the funeral arrangements and am now busy gathering tuition for my 3 sons. Chang Kai-sin, I know you look down on me now and will never forgive me. It's only now that I've come to see my own heart clearly. I like you, Ju-lin. You're unwilling to accept how things have turned out for you. My life is good now, and I don't want anything more to do with you. If you truly feel guilty, you shouldn't have come to see me. Just then, a female classmate passed by. Chang Kai-sin, is this person here to sell something? Don't buy anything. There are so many scammers these days. Let's go. We're going to have lunch. Times had changed. Ju-lin's face flashed with embarrassment before he slunk away. My name is Nan Gongqing. I'm 1 year ahead of you, and my cousin is called Nan Gongyang. My brother told me about you. I didn't expect we'd meet so soon. By the way, my brother is still waiting for us to have lunch. Nan Gongqing pulled me into a restaurant, and Nan Gongyang had already ordered the food. I was utterly astonished. How come you're here? Nan Gongyang felt a bit embarrassed. I came to bring some local specialties from home to my cousin, and we're just having lunch together before I leave. I was afraid you might be hungry, so I ordered a few dishes first. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to eat. Nan Gongqing pulled me to sit down, laughing uncontrollably at the menu booklet in front of me. Cousin, did you only bring me delicious food, just now? Who was it that saw someone bothering Chang Kai-sin and anxiously asked me to go over? While watching worriedly from the side, my face instantly burned with embarrassment. Senior, thank you. When Nan Gongyang left, he gave me a big bag of food, all made by his mother. Pork buns, yellow rice cakes, sweet fermented rice, and eggs. These things couldn't be stored for long, so Nan Gongqing often took me to secretly cook them over a wood fire at school, the year I graduated. After taking graduation photos, Nan Gongyang was waiting for me on a lady's motorcycle, saying it was a gift for me to make commuting in the city easier. Although big cities are nice, I want to spend a few more years with my mom and take good care of her. I was assigned to work at the village police station, and my mom said I was foolish for leaving the countryside only to come back again. Nan Gongyang happened to come to my house with gifts to congratulate me. My mom smiled and quickly took the gifts. Too busy to express her regrets to me, Nan Gongyang and I confirmed our romantic relationship. At first, he was afraid I would dislike him for being older, which made me laugh uncontrollably. Soon, both families found out. Nangong Yang's parents happily sent a matchmaker to my home to propose marriage, and I recognized her as the aunt who had stopped Julin when I fell into the water. My mother joyfully agreed and immediately brought out several quilts she had prepared for my wedding, along with a hand-embroidered three-piece bedding set. On the wedding day, I cried uncontrollably, and my mother was even more emotional, weeping as if she couldn't bear to part. Both families hosted a grand banquet for the entire village, celebrating for 3 full days. Nangong Yang, dressed in a black Zhongshan suit as the groom with a large red flower pinned to his chest, personally helped me out of the bridal sedan chair. We held hands tightly, fingers interlocked, and stepped over the fire pan together. We bowed to both sets of parents in turn. My mother cried tears of joy, while my mother-in-law happily drank the name-changing tea and gave me a large red envelope. The end. That concludes the first story. Stay tuned. The next one is even more exciting. After transmigrating into an extra, I stood by the roadside watching the male lead, female lead, and the villainess argue. A large truck suddenly rushed out, nearly turning me into a dead extra. After I die, please help me raise my son. My bank card password is. The villainess was severely injured while saving me and died before she could finish speaking. I searched everywhere and finally found the villainess's son at the orphanage. After taking him out of the orphanage, bullet comments appeared before my eyes. Damn, where did this extra come from? How did they end up adopting the little villain? This child is gloomy and paranoid, just like his villainous mother. Even his own father doesn't acknowledge him, abandoned him in an orphanage, and adopted other children. Wouldn't adopting him be asking for trouble? Looking at the thinly dressed little boy before me, I dismissed the barrage of comments as nonsense. Gloomy and paranoid. It's not some incurable disease. At 1001 hash. Let's go. I reminded the little boy to get in the car, but he kept staring motionlessly at the car across the street. I followed his gaze and looked over. Oh wow, Tilda, a Maserati. The little villain must be very angry. His own biological father would rather adopt another child than have him. That's not some other child, that's the male lead. Since childhood, he's had the protagonist's halo. With both high intelligence and emotional quotient, it's a pity that this little antagonist has been competing with the male lead since childhood, but no matter how hard he tries, he can never surpass him. The bullet comments are starting to chat again. It seems the author is updating again. That vicious female supporting character died to save me in the car accident, and the female lead also died. A new round of tragic story begins again. I glanced at the luxury car across the street and reached out to push the child's head into the car. Let's go. If you like that car, our family can afford it too. The boy frowned. I don't want you to buy it. I'll buy it myself when I grow up. TSK Tilda. My son, you have ambition. We remained silent the whole way until we finally arrived home. Don't think that just because you adopted me, I'll call you Mom. I have a mother. In the living room, his little hand was clenched tightly, glaring at me fiercely. Call me whatever you want. By the way, what's your name? I suddenly realized that I still didn't know his name. The dean did mention something, but I was too busy watching the bullet comments and didn't catch it clearly. He didn't say anything. If you don't say anything, I'm going to give you a random name. What should it be? Let's call you Zihao. I've noticed that's a common name in kindergarten, I said with a grin. Tang Song. What? My name is Tang Song. He stamped his foot in anger. I laughed. Oh, the 8 great masters of Tang and Song. Right, that's a really good name. I'll call you Tang Tang from now on. I don't want to. That's a girl's name. I'm called Tang Song. He protested. Alright, Tang Tang, it's very late. You should go to sleep. I still have to take you to school to register tomorrow. I picked him up and threw him into the small bed that had been prepared earlier, covered him with a blanket, and left. At 1001 hash. Early the next morning, I only realized after I had finished registering Tang Song. The male lead, Qiming, was also in this class and was even seated next to Tang Song. Now the show is about to begin, waiting to see how the antagonist gets bullied by the male lead in this early competitive story. The villain is destined to be crushed. It's just a pity he doesn't realize it himself, always thinking he can surpass the male lead, working harder than anyone else. Come on. That's the male lead, the center of the entire story. A minor villain will never get a chance to shine. Damn. those annoying comments popped up again, and what they said was incredibly harsh. What does it mean to never have a chance to succeed? The child I raise, even if they are a salted fish, is still the best. I want to sign up for tutoring classes, for Chinese, math, and English, in the evening, after Tang Song finished his homework. He came to the living room where I was watching cartoons and said, "You're only in 2nd grade, what do you need tutoring for? Come on, let's watch Crayon Shin-chan together." I patted the spot next to me and extended a sincere invitation to him. The little guy glanced at the TV and looked utterly disgusted. "I want to make up for it. I'm going to be first in the final exam. If you don't sign me up, I'll accuse you of abuse." "Hey," threatening me. "Huh, do you think I was raised to be scared?" Alright, I'll sign you up. Tomorrow I'll go find a tutoring center and register you." Seeing that I agreed, he turned around and went back into the room to continue reading. The next day after school, I picked up Tang Song and took him directly to the gym. His face turned green with anger. "I wanted to sign up for language, math, and English classes. What do you mean by signing me up for swimming and tennis lessons?" "Oh my, I just thought since you're not in the best shape, you need to exercise more. As the saying goes, virtue, intellect, physique, aesthetics, and labor, exercise ranks in the top 3. I stepped forward to hug and comfort him, but he dodged me. "What about cooking? Is that also to strengthen your exercise?" He pointed to the 3rd registration form. "That one is a freebie. The current environment isn't great, so it's buy 2, get 1 free. No point in turning down something for nothing, tilde. Even the dog won't eat my cooking." Now that I've finally come across such an obsessive and competitive talent, I need to nurture these culinary skills as quickly as possible. "I don't want it. Change it for me. I don't want to learn these things." He tore the registration form into pieces in a fit of anger. I pulled 3 more sheets of paper out of my bag and handed them to him. "That was a copy. I have plenty more here. You're not avoiding it because you're afraid you won't be able to learn it or do well, are you?" "Who says I can't learn it well? I can learn anything well, and be the best at it." Tang Song snatched the registration form from my hand, swung his small backpack, and went inside. "If she's not the biological mother, it's just not the same. Other parents are tutoring their kids, but she's busy with swimming and tennis, and even took up cooking. The male lead has already joined the Olympiad class, while the antagonist can't even get tutoring. There's no catching up in this lifetime." I couldn't be bothered to read any more of these comments, so I waved my hand and went to find a place to play games. At 1001 hash, throughout elementary school, I was constantly matching wits with Tang Song. After school, he would stay up late reading, but I would pull the plug on the electricity at exactly 10 o'clock. He was reading How the Steel Was Tempered, so I swapped it out for 100,000 Ys. On weekends, when he was doing practice test papers, I would drag him to a park 10 kilometers away and make him hike back home with me. During winter and summer vacations, he went crazy doing practice problems, while I went crazy doing social dances and playing video games. "Wang Gui Hua, can you please be quiet? I'm about to take the middle school entrance exam." He couldn't take it anymore and completely lost his temper. Unplugging my speakers, "It's just the middle school entrance exam, not the college entrance exam. Why are you so nervous? I'll be playing mahjong with Aunt Chen and Aunt Ju later. You can be our 4th player." Although he is a villain, he is dark and obsessive, but when faced with unreasonable women, especially when there are 3 of them, even the most dark and obsessive villain is at a loss. Tang Song played mahjong with us all afternoon and lost 250. Villains are villains, they can't do anything right. The male lead always ranks first in his studies, and even casually playing games can get him to the highest rank. Unlike him, no matter how hard he studies, he's always second best. Plus, with a mother like that, it's simply a dream for him to ever beat the male lead in this lifetime. These bullet comments are quite sarcastic, but they are also telling the truth. Tang Song has always been very hardworking. Although his goal is to compete with the male lead and to win against him, but he really is a hardworking kid. Don't watch TV or play games, just study after finishing a meal, except for when she can't outperform the male lead and smashes random things. Everything else is great. If such a child fell into the hands of tiger parents, they would be overjoyed. Unfortunately, I'm not that kind of parent. I'm a couch potato. I really don't want him to become like what the comments say, gloomy and paranoid. I want him to become a cheerful and outgoing boy, happy every day. Before the high school entrance exam, Moyu somehow got a box of mushrooms. We cooked them into soup, and it was incredibly delicious. Tang Song also drank a bowl. You guys are 100 years old combined. Don't you know you can't just eat any mushroom? The doctor looked at the four of us adults with a child, all collectively suffering from food poisoning, and was utterly speechless. But even more furious than him was Tang Song. We were laid up for several days, and the junior high school entrance exam had long since ended. At 1001 hash, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I really didn't know those mushrooms were picked by Auntie Chen's mother-in-law during her trip to Yunnan, although I don't care about his academic performance. I don't want to see him so heartbroken either. The male lead Chi Ming mentioned in that bullet comment ranked first in the entire city. He got into the affiliated elementary school of Normal University, the most elite among all key schools. After returning from the hospital, Tang Song shut himself in his room and refused to come out, not even willing to eat. To cheer him up, I gritted my teeth and went all out. Tang, look what this is. I slipped the item through the crack under his door. The door quickly opened. What does this mean? He held up the admission letter from the affiliated elementary school of Normal University in his hand. I clearly didn't take the exam. Hey. I donated 200,000 to the school, and they made an exception to admit you. Son, our family has money. Even if you do nothing and just lays around at home like a salted fish, your mom can ensure you never have to worry about food and drink for the rest of your life. It's time to let him know the power of money. This is cheating. No one knows, but I do. Tang Song's face flushed with anger. I made a shushing gesture at him. You know, so just keep it to yourself. After all, he was still a child. Despite saying he wouldn't go, when school started, he still carried his backpack and went to register. I want to live on campus. On the evening after registration, Tang Song began packing his bedding and clothes. Of course I was reluctant to let him go. Who would make up the numbers for me after he left? Who would cook for me? Tang, the school conditions are poor. It's not as comfortable as living at home. Be good, don't go. He continued packing without stopping. I'm in middle school now, and in 3 years, I'll have to take the high school entrance exam. This time, I must surpass Chi Ming. So, I must go to the boarding school, and there's no use trying to stop me. Haha, trying to outdo the male lead, that's just wishful thinking. No matter how hard you try, it's useless. Eventually, you'll just study yourself into madness and start questioning life itself. Isn't it during these 3 years of boarding school that the antagonist's obsession grows increasingly severe, eventually leading to mental issues? He brought it upon himself, always trying to surpass the male lead and prove himself, especially to his biological father. But the more he competed, the worse it got. It's pointless. His mother is the vicious female supporting character who caused the death of the woman his father loved most, no matter how hard he tries to prove himself. It won't make a difference. Enough, I couldn't help but exclaim upon seeing those bullet comments. Tang Song turned around, looking at me in surprise. I mean, these old clothes are enough. No need to bring too many. I'll buy you new ones later. I forced a faint smile and explained, the barrage of comments worries me. I can't let Tang Song's mental state deteriorate. In the end, Tang Song still ended up boarding at school, but it only lasted half a month. At 1001 hash, Tang, Mom came to see you. Have you been kicking off your blankets at night? My son, it's only been a week since you started boarding at school. How have you gotten so thin? Aunt Chen and the others miss you so much. She made you some soup herself and asked me to bring it to you. Drink it while it's hot. I go to the school every single day without fail, either to bring him food or to do his laundry. I never expected Tang Song to be such a mama's boy. Seriously, at his age, and still so attached to his mom. When his mom called him Tang earlier, it gave me goosebumps. A few young girls whispered among themselves. Tang Song's face was as cold as ice. After delivering meals for another week, Tang Song finally couldn't take it anymore and moved back home. In the final exams of the second year of junior high, he ranked second in the entire grade. He got so angry that he locked himself in his room again and didn't come out all day. You've already done so well. What more do you want? I had to use the spare key as well. What's the use of being so good? Still second place. He's still number one. Tang Song's face was expressionless. I knew who he was talking about. According to you, only the top scorer has a way out, so does that mean everyone who can't get first place should just die? That's not what I meant, Tilda. That's exactly what you meant. I never argue with him. But this time I have to say something. So what if you're better than Qiming? There are plenty of people in this world who are more capable than Qiming. Can you outdo all of them? I just can't stand it. Why has my mother suddenly become a bad woman? My father won't acknowledge me because of another woman. What exactly did I do wrong? I just want him to know that I'm the most capable one. I want him to regret it. I want to take revenge for my mother. As he spoke, he started crying, and it made my heart ache. Silly child, if your mother were still alive, she would only want you to grow up happily. And whether she was a bad woman or not isn't for others to decide. As long as in your heart she wasn't, then she never will be. As for your father, he made his choices. Everyone has their own choices. You don't need to do anything because of someone else's choices. After I finished speaking, Tang Song didn't say a word. He curled up on his bed, lost in thought. I sighed and covered him with a blanket. Actually, no matter how you score on the exam, you'll always be number one and the best in my heart. Although Tang Song is paranoid, it's only about his own matters. Although he is dark, he has never harmed anyone, even though he is a paranoid and dark antagonist. In the end, he is just a child lacking love. I don't know why those bullet comments have to be so harsh when dealing with such a child. Is this the sense of achievement of a keyboard warrior? In the following days, Tang Song worked even harder. I knew that my words alone couldn't completely change him. But the situation was improving. He no longer locked himself alone in his room, no matter how poorly he performed on exams. I thought the high school entrance exam would be a turning point. But an accident still happened. At 1001 hash, am I destined to fail in this life? No matter how hard I try, it's useless. Heaven just wants to play with me like this. Tang Song was in a car accident on the first day of the high school entrance exam and was unconscious for 2 days before waking up. Just like missing the entrance exam for junior high school, I missed the test, and Qiming is still the city's top scorer. The TV in the hospital room was broadcasting an interview with him. Tang Song sat on the hospital bed, gripping the sheets tightly with both hands. The obsessive personality in the villain has now fully awakened. He wouldn't be thinking of taking revenge on the male lead, would he? What's the use of revenge? That's the male lead we're talking about. He's not going to die, actually. The villain is quite pitiful too. After working so hard for so long, it all just went to waste. I'm afraid Tang Song might not be able to handle it, afraid he might turn dark. I'm even more afraid he'll take revenge on the male lead, so I drove him back to my hometown overnight. After 8 hours of driving, crossing 3 mountain ranges, and taking a ferry, we finally arrived. Grandma, this kid didn't do well on his exams and is throwing a tantrum. I'm leaving him with you for the summer. Make sure you keep a close eye on him and don't let him run around, especially near the river. I left 10,000 yuan for my grandma and ran away overnight. The next day, Tang Song somehow got hold of a phone and called me. Wang Gui Hua, come pick me up quickly. I want to repeat my studies. What? You want to jump into the lake? Then I can't pick you up. I hung up the phone, and he called again. If you don't come pick me up, I'll walk back by myself. Haha. No one has ever managed to escape from my grandma's grasp. Not even livestock have succeeded. Tilda. LOL. The villain was just about to make a comeback, but ended up being sent to the countryside. Isn't this like a reality makeover show? Look at him. His hair is all clumped together. This passerby is really outrageous, always coming up with random ideas. Even GPS would get lost in this remote mountain area. The live stream comments started buzzing again, while shuffling the mahjong tiles. I watched the comments and couldn't help but laugh inwardly. My grandma, that woman Tilda, villainous paranoia. Even the monkeys on Mount Amay would have to work for her for 2 days if they fell into her hands. Tang Song stayed in his hometown for 2 whole months. Every day, he either fed the chickens, herded the cows, or gathered pigweed. I'm so tired that I fall asleep as soon as I hit the bed, leaving no time to think about all those trivial matters. My appetite has increased too. According to my grandma, I can eat 3 big bowls of rice in 1 meal now. Let me send some more money back, Tilda. In the blink of an eye, it's September 1st. The autumn breeze rises, and the school season begins. It's time to bring Tang Song back to school. At 1001 hash, standing at the gate of the Provincial Key High School, Tang Song seemed hesitant to speak. You're not going to be like you were during the transition to junior high, are you? He couldn't help but ask me. I took his luggage out of the trunk and said with a laugh, of course it's different. This is a provincial key school. It costs 400,000. Your mom really went all out this time. The principal was grinning from ear to ear. Perhaps after all these years, he had gradually become accustomed to my way of doing things. This time, he didn't resist much, as he was seeing me off at the school gate. He suddenly spoke up and told me, "I will study hard for these 3 years and won't let you down. I won't let your money go to waste." Seeing his serious expression, I patted him on the shoulder. "You're wrong. I spent the money hoping you'd be happy, not to make you push yourself to the limit. As long as you enjoy your studies during these 3 years, it's fine even if you end up being a poor student. In 3 years, if you still want to continue your studies, Mom will buy you a university education. Any top-tier school is fine. Mom has plenty of money. In life, the most important thing is to be happy. Everything else is no big deal, Tilda. I don't like studying. Alright, you have your own plans, but my plan is, no matter how your plans change, I will always be your support." Damn, I'm a bit moved by this random character. What should I do? Me too, although the antagonist is very unfortunate. It seems they are also very lucky to have such a mother. It's useless. Villains will always be villains. The female lead is about to appear, and the real male competition begins now. What? I stopped in my tracks. Not wanting to miss a single comment in the barrage, after watching for a while, I finally realized that the female lead, Gu Wenyoon, is about to appear, and my villainous son will fall in love with her, becoming obsessively infatuated with her for a full 10 years, engaging in a series of competitive struggles with the male lead. In the end, because the female lead married the male lead, he tragically committed suicide. No, a good child shouldn't hang themselves on just one tree. I need to find him a few more trees, Tilda. At 1001 hash, after the military training in the first year of high school, Tang Song's face was tanned dark. The first thing he did when he got home was to go into his room and read, "Tang Tang, this is the tutor Mom hired for you from Tsinghua University. Study hard." I brought a female college student into his room. Actually, I didn't tell Tang Song everything. Besides being a junior at Tsinghua University, this female student is also the department beauty. Compared to that female lead Wang Wenyoon, who got tanned as dark as charcoal during military training, she's countless times more beautiful. "Mom, how did you come up with the idea of finding me a tutor?" Tang Song was very surprised. I pushed the girl a bit closer to him, feeling guilty, and said, "Mom was afraid you'd struggle in high school. So she wanted to give you some extra tutoring." Seeing a girl who was only a few years older than him, and such a pretty one at that, Tang Song blushed all the way to the tips of his ears. I don't even know where to stand. Wait, what is this extra trying to do? Trying to use a college girl to divert the villain's attention from the female lead, so she can see what we're saying after all. But it's useless. What's meant to happen will still happen. She's thinking too simply. Is the female lead someone who can be easily replaced? The villain has been obsessively crazy about her for 10 years, obsessed with the female lead for 20 years. He just hasn't met someone better, Tilda. As the saying goes, without comparison, there is no harm. What female lead, even if she were a savior? I'd have to bring the Buddha himself over. 3 hours later, the tutoring session ended. "Sis, don't worry, within a month. I guarantee he'll become so arrogant he wouldn't even look at a fairy if one showed up." The college girl looked even more beautiful when she smiled, holding the thick stack of tutoring fees I gave her. For the next 2 months, the female college student would come every weekend to tutor Tang Song. In addition to tutoring academic subjects, she would also discuss life and ideals with Tang Song. She told Tang Song that life has infinite possibilities and introduced friends from all over the world to him. Some of these friends were studying stars in the desert, while others were catching crocodiles in the tropical rainforest. Some are teaching in Africa as volunteers. During those days, Tang Song's eyes sparkled every day. "Can you buy me a telescope? An ordinary one will do." Tang Song stood beside the sofa, feeling a bit embarrassed. "No problem, I'll buy it for you tomorrow." "But what do you need a telescope for?" "To copy from others during exams." "Tang Song, I just want to look at the stars in the sky, wondering if my mom is one of them." Now it's my turn to be embarrassed. At 1001 hash, parent of Tang Song, could you please come to the school on Monday afternoon? While I was at home applying a facial mask, Tang Song's homeroom teacher called me. As soon as I entered the office, I froze. The female lead, Wang Wenyoon, was actually there too. This shouldn't be happening. Tang Song's mother, This is a critical period for the college entrance exams. I never expected Tang Song to be involved in a puppy-love relationship. Teacher, Tang Song has been pestering me constantly, and it's affecting my studies. Could you possibly transfer him to another class? The female lead whispered softly. Smack. I was so angry that I slapped Tang Song on the back. The homeroom teacher quickly grabbed me. Tang Song's mom. No matter how angry you are, you can't hit a child. I shook her off, grabbed Tang Song by the collar, and demanded, so you're dating early? Fine, but how could you go for such a plain girl? Don't you know how to pick someone pretty? I'm so furious. Once this is over, I'm definitely going to make that female college student refund the money. The homeroom teacher was stunned by my words. Tang Song's mom. How could you? The female lead looked at me with deep resentment, but I ignored her and continued scolding Tang Song. You're really embarrassing me. With so many girls to choose from, why did you pick her? I'm not pestering her. She took my notebook and read it without my permission. Those letters tucked in my notebook were written to my pen pals abroad, not to her. Tang Song finally spoke. The female lead deliberately flirts with the antagonist to provoke the male lead, but the antagonist doesn't know any better. The antagonist is just pretending. He's actually overjoyed to see the female lead taking his things. The barrage comments left me puzzled, unsure if what they said was true. Who are you trying to fool? Who still writes letters these days? Just send a text message tilde to a pen pal abroad. Can you even manage to send it? Wang Wenyun said sarcastically. I laughed in anger. I didn't expect you to be not only ugly but also uneducated. Do you even understand the meaning of letters? Is this really the female lead? She doesn't even have as much insight as a random passerby like me. With Tang Song's permission, the homeroom teacher and I opened those letters. They were all written in English, and not a single word was addressed to Wang Wenyun. No wonder your English has improved so quickly recently, Tang Song. It turns out you've been writing letters in English often. Keep it up. The homeroom teacher was very pleased. Wait. Aren't those letters supposed to be love letters from the villain to the female lead? How did the plot change like this? I'm confused too. Hasn't the villain fallen for the female lead yet? Wang Wenyun scoffed and turned to leave. Stop right there. Apologize to my son now. I grabbed her by the hair. The homeroom teacher came over to pull me away, advising, Tang Song's parents. She is a girl, and Tang Song is a boy. He won't argue with a girl. Hey, is that really how it works? I rolled up my sleeves, ready to even beat up the homeroom teacher. Tang Song pressed down my hand and said firmly, I want her to apologize, in front of the whole class. Hearing his words, I finally felt at ease. At 1001 hash, don't worry, I won't start dating early, right now. I just want to get into Tsinghua University. When leaving school, Tang Song specifically caught up with me and said this. My heart is completely at ease now. It seems the money spent on my daughter's education wasn't in vain. Throughout the 3 years of high school, Tang Song remained very diligent, but while working hard, he would also play basketball and participate in some outdoor activities like his peers. He also signed up for the marathon, and although he didn't place, he persevered and completed the entire race. Although he still doesn't call me mom, our relationship is already quite similar to that of old friends. Wishing you a victorious start. This time you're definitely going to pass the exam. If you don't, mom will buy you a spot. On the day of the college entrance exam, I specifically went and bought a cheongsam to wear, holding balloons and banners in hand, standing at the school gate to cheer him on. Wang Gui Hua, you've embarrassed me all the way abroad. Tang Song was both amused and exasperated by my grand gesture, but his face was beaming with a smile. In early July, Tang Song received his admission letter from Tsinghua University. This time, he finally achieved his wish, and no more unfortunate incidents occurred. The male lead also got into Tsinghua University, and was even the top scorer in the province. However, it seemed that Tang Song didn't really care much this time. I went with him to his mother's grave, and he burned a copy of his admission letter for her. So, how about it? I've raised your son pretty well, haven't I, considering all the effort I've put in. When you have a moment, send me a dream and tell me the password. Okay. Taking advantage of the moment when Tang Song was setting off firecrackers, I quietly said to the villainess, throughout the 4 years of university, Tang Song thrived and no longer paid much attention to the male lead. Every day is busy with classes and participating in various clubs, even busier than high school. This doesn't seem right. Why doesn't the villain react even when the female lead and male lead confess their feelings? Last time he saw the male and female leads eating together in the cafeteria, he didn't react either. What exactly is the problem here? I want to start a business. After graduating from university, Tang Song came to me and said he took out all the drafts he had designed in his business blueprint, hoping to make a name for himself in one go. Haha, here it comes. It seems the plot is back on track. The antagonist starts a business but runs into a financial crisis, ending up with over 100 million in debt. From then on, he never recovers. He also wanted to prove his ability through entrepreneurship, aiming to surpass his father's business, but ended up with nothing. Even a passerby was dragged into debt by him and ended up homeless. Damn it. This absolutely cannot happen. At 1001 hash. Tang, listen to me. The year you got into college, I bought a global travel package for 300,000. Now that you've graduated, we need to go soon. Otherwise, it'll expire. I support your entrepreneurial plans. After we return from the trip, it won't be too late for you to start. Using all sorts of tricks and deception, I managed to get Tang Song out of the country. As the saying goes, if you never start a business in your life, you'll never know how much debt you can rack up. Although I'm just a wealthy extra, I can't handle the chaos of entrepreneurship. Ending up homeless is absolutely out of the question. During the trip, Tang Song told me that he wanted to start a business and open a company, with the goal of eventually surpassing his father's company. I didn't say a word, just dragged him to Egypt to see the pyramids. He said he wanted to make everyone who looked down on him regret it. I didn't say a word, just pulled him to Antarctica to see the penguins. Wang Gui Hua, we've been out for 2 years now. It's about time we ended this, isn't it? Standing at the foot of Mount Fuji, Tang Song finally couldn't hold back any longer. I've bought tickets for tomorrow. 2 years. We've traveled across half the globe, and the financial crisis is over, just in time to go back and see how things are now. As soon as I got off the plane, I saw the female lead, Wang Wenyun, waving to us from the gate from afar. Are you too? I was dumbfounded. Could it be that he still has feelings for the female lead? Tang Yao shook his head. I don't know. I haven't seen her since I graduated from high school. Just as the two of us walked out of the gate looking completely confused, Wang Wenying came up to us. Tang Yao, long time no see. I knew you were coming back today, so I came specifically to pick you up. She smiled and walked toward Tang Yao, but I hip-checked her away. No wonder she's the female lead, willing to show kindness to the antagonist for the male lead's sake, trying to ask the antagonist for help to save him. It's all because of the antagonist's father. Instead of ruining his own son, he drove the perfectly good male lead to this state. Fortunately, the male lead still has the female lead by his side. The female lead's love for him is genuine, so touching. After reading the comments, I found out that during the 2 years we were away, the male lead Chi Ming had been starting his own business. The development momentum was originally very strong, but it encountered a financial crisis, and overnight, it accumulated 30 billion in debt. In the following days, Wang Wenyun went to Tang Song's door every day to confront him. Tang Song, I've only just realized now that it's you I truly love. I know you like me too. You're just insecure. I know all about it. Isn't she truly in love with the male lead? What kind of game is she playing now? I'm confused again. The female lead is definitely doing this on purpose. She wants to sacrifice herself to help the male lead. Probably, maybe. Should be, right. The comments aren't as certain as before, just like me, a bit unclear about the female lead, Tang Song. I was deceived by Chi Ming before. I thought he was a good man, but it turns out he's just a scumbag. In our second year of high school, he tried to force me to do things I didn't want to do. After we got together, he even hit me. Boo-hoo tilde. Bang. Tang Song opened the door and went out. I wanted to stop him but couldn't. Tang Song, you finally came out to see me. I knew you liked me. Wang Wenyun beamed with joy. Chi Ming, did you hear everything clearly? Tang Song called out towards the corner. Why is the male lead here? When did he arrive? Oh no, the male and female leads are going to misunderstand each other now. Everyone, I just went to check out the author's latest update again. And this Wang Wenyun is not the female lead, she's the villainess, for goodness sake. Is the author really this chaotic, at this point? The female lead still hasn't made an appearance. At 1001 hash, Wang Wenyun, I thought many people would step on me, but I never expected it to be you. Back then, it was clearly you who kept pursuing me, got me drunk, and said I took advantage of you. How come now you're putting all the blame on me? Chi Ming's face was pale, and his mental state was very poor. It seems this incident has hit him hard, and coupled with his girlfriend's betrayal, it's a double blow. Wang Wenyun was initially a bit flustered when he saw Chi Ming, but quickly regained his composure. Chi Ming, you can't even protect yourself right now, so don't meddle in other people's business. Tang Song and I are truly in love. I like him, and he likes me too. If it weren't for you, this annoying pest, we would have gotten married long ago. The villain must be feeling smug now, seeing the male lead being treated so poorly. He must be satisfied. I've always been overshadowed by the male lead since childhood, but now I can finally hold my head high. But Chi Ming is the male lead after all. How could he end up like this? This plot is really confusing. Tang Song sneered and said, I never liked you, not even a little bit. If you come to my house and disturb us again, I won't hesitate to call the police. Get out. I added the word when I saw the situation. After Wang Wenyun was driven away by us, Tang Song invited Chi Ming to stay for dinner. He cooked several of his signature dishes. I never expected you to have this skill, unlike me, who only knows how to study rigidly tilde. At the dinner table, Chi Ming couldn't stop praising Tang Song's craftsmanship. Tang Song, do you know, actually, I've always envied you since we were kids. I envy that even if you didn't get into a good school. It didn't matter. Your mother never forced you to study. In middle school, she brought you food and drinks every day. I was so envious. Although I was adopted by a wealthy family, they only forced me to study and bring them honor. They had no affection for me at all. After the meal, Chi Ming opened up to us. I never expected the male lead to have such a miserable life. I really don't want to go to school at all. I don't want to take exams, and I don't want to be the top scholar. I want to go out and play. Chi Ming had too much to drink and couldn't stop talking as the night went on. Tang Song had no choice but to help him to the guest room to rest. Late at night, I was in the living room binge-watching a drama when Chi Ming woke up. Auntie, I'm really sorry for causing you so much trouble. He is very polite, like Tang and Song. He should also have a wonderful life. When seeing Chi Ming off, I quietly told him a few numbers, then I said goodbye to him with a smile, at 1001 hash. A month later, Chi Ming paid off all his debts and disappeared from the public eye. No one knew how he managed to repay that sum of money. However, the top prizes in those lottery draws were all won by the same person, which made netizens extremely envious. Child, I am your father. After Chi Ming disappeared, Tang Song's biological father, Chi Yuan Sen, came to find him. I was just too angry back then. You know what your mother was like, selfish and stubborn. She caused your Aunt Xiaoshui's death. And I had no other choice. Every time I see you, I'm reminded of your mother, and thinking of your mother makes me think of your Aunt Xiaoshui. I just couldn't bring myself to face you. Your father is old now, and you're my only child. Everything in the Qi group will be yours in the future. As for that Chi Ming, I never considered him my son from start to finish. He was just a tool I used to motivate you. Shamelessness truly knows no bounds. I am utterly in awe of this old geezer. Saying his twisting logic would be an understatement. It's practically a compliment. Are you done? Don't think just because my mom is gone, you can twist the truth here. I was too young back then to understand what happened, but over the past 2 years, I've investigated everything thoroughly. My mother endured hardship and toil with you, starting from scratch. Once you made money, you ran into your old flame, abandoned my mother, married your first love, and even called her a vicious woman. Aunt Xiaoshui was also killed by you. You wanted to take her family fortune for yourself, and you even drove Aunt Xiaoshui's father to his death. Every word Tang Song said shocked me. When did this kid know more than I do? I'm just an extra with bullet screen support. After all, this is different from what we saw before. Did the author revise the text again? I don't know either. It completely exceeded my expectations. Stop talking and keep reading. This is even more exciting than before. Even the barrage comments didn't know about this. What nonsense are you talking? I am your biological father. How can you say that about me? Chi Yuan Sen said furiously. Tang Lung sneered, and that's not all. Soon, I'll send you to prison. Just you, don't forget. I'm your father. If a son wants to fight his father, try again in 30 years. Chi Yuan Sen quickly adjusted his emotions, not taking Tang Song's words to heart. And me. Chi Ming appeared at that moment, holding a USB drive in his hand. When the police car arrived, Chi Yuan-sen finally realized that all of this was real. At 1001 hash, after Chi Yuan-sen was imprisoned, I finally learned the whole story of what had happened. Back then, Chi Yuan-sen lied to Liu Shui, claiming he was unmarried. Liu Shui only found out the truth half a year after they registered their marriage. At that time, Tang Song's mother, Tang Yuting, also learned the truth. While the three of them were arguing, a large truck lost control and crashed into them. As a mere bystander, I was standing by the roadside watching the drama unfold and didn't have time to run. Tang Yuting died saving me, while Liu Shui was pushed under the truck by Chi Yuan-sen, but I was so terrified at the time that I didn't notice what Chi Yuan-sen did. I followed the ambulance to the hospital, but Liu Shui died on the way. After 2 hours of emergency treatment, Tang Yuting also passed away. Before she died, she told me that this world is a novel, and she was the villainess, a vicious female supporting character who has endured hardships and struggled for many years alongside her husband. She begged me to go to the orphanage and take her son, raising him safely. I did it. But Tang Yuting's death also served as a warning to me. Since this is a novel, everyone is merely a character in the story, nothing matters, everything will disappear. Only living in the present and being happy is what truly matters. Tang Song and Chi Ming, relying on the knowledge they had acquired in school over the years, began to volunteer as teachers around the world. They went to Africa and stayed in India. I spent several winters in the Inuit tents. They said that since this world is just a novel, they would live as they pleased, however they wanted. Mom, our next trip is to Rio de Janeiro. Are you coming? I heard there are so many parrots there. This wasn't the first time Tang Song had taken me out. No, your mom just wants to lie flat, I whistled, and a macaw quickly flew over and landed on my shoulder. The end. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.